How's it going, everyone? Today I'll be playing this Black Panther Shuri Justice deck against the M.O.D.O.K scenario on Heroic difficulty, as I try to beat every scenario in the game on Heroic difficulty using a different hero. M.O.D.O.K is a relatively easy scenario, and I think Shuri is a very strong hero, so this might be a bit of overkill, but I like to pair heroes against scenarios from the same wave when possible, and this is sort of where I'm at in the progression, so we'll go for it. I mean, it should be an extremely good matchup as well. I'll talk about the M.O.D.O.K scenario after this deck breakdown, before then jumping into the game. But one thing I really like is Shuri's got these Vibranium cards. M.O.D.O.K's got the holding cells that require doubles of certain resources to remove lot counters from them. So Vibranium, being a 2 of any resource you want, is really excellent against those. So what we've got in the deck, I've got a few more situational cards than usual, just because this scenario has an onboard resource sink at all time in the form of those holding cell environments. So, so some cards like Foiled, this is a kind of situational card. When a boost card is turned face up during a scheme activation, cancel its boost icons. Well, if that's not really relevant, if I draw when I'm in hero form, it can still just be resources for the holding cell environment. Overall, so we've got some cards taking advantage of Shuri being a genius. We've got Moon Girl, we've got Ingenuity, just solid cards. Because of I'm playing the Dora Milaje package, so we've got that. We've got some of the staple basic allies. I'm playing Power in all of us as well. Again, just doubles as being a wild resource. One of the holding cell environments specifically wants single wild resources to remove lot counters, so this is excellent for discarding that, or it can just be a wild of anything else. Heart of the Panther, I'd be surprised if I end up playing this turn because it requires some setup, but again, it's just a wild resource, and it is, in flavor of the deck. One way or another, there's a handful of side schemes that are okay to get with this, especially if we're just kind of racing through the holding cell deck. Then we probably won't even waste time clearing those side schemes, just accelerate, get some more resources, go through that holding cell deck faster. I'm not really that tech heavy. One way to play Shuri is to put some more techs in your deck for her to get with her alter ego ability. I feel like the Black Panther upgrades are plenty. I've got one sonic rifle as just another target, but I'd be surprised if I use this ability more than once or twice throughout the game. Last card I should mention here, 3 copies of Sidearm. So this is pretty heavy tech against this scenario. So M.O.D.O.K comes with Retaliate 2. So if you want our allies to attack him more than once, they've got to have ranged attacks. So if you were going to play this deck against some different scenario, I would definitely take those out. They're not going to be the most consistently useful. But honestly, sticking a Sidearm on a Dora Milaje ally that you're going to heal a bunch actually might not be the worst idea. So there's the deck. Let's talk about the M.O.D.O.K scenario. So let's take a look at the M.O.D.O.K scenario. Lots of notable things here. First thing to note is just M.O.D.O.K himself. He's got Retaliate 2 and Steady, 2 very relevant keywords there for how you might want to approach playing against M.O.D.O.K. We saw I had the sidearms already. I'm not too reliant on stunning and confusing, at least on the villain. You saw I had some foileds, I had 1 counter intelligence. These are ways to prevent some threat without actually confusing M.O.D.O.K. And notably a very high scheme, but a very low attack. So not going to be as essential to block M.O.D.O.K's attack throughout this game as it would be some of the other villains. So when we set up the game, in expert mode, we're going to put 2 of these adaptoid environments into play. And these are going to provide modifications to these adaptoid minions, which are 5 health, 1/1 minions, but they get buffed by these different environments. So either +1 attack and toughness, +1 attack overkill ranged, +1 scheme, insight 1, or villainous. So we start with 2 of those out. If the main scheme would be completed, we put a 3rd one in, and if it would be completed again, we technically put the 4th one in, but then we lose if there are no set-aside adaptoid environments left. So essentially, it's only 1 scheme, but it's kind of like having 2 schemes with a threshold of 7. And you saw we're playing Under Surveillance in this deck, a nice tech against M.O.D.O.K here. Because this isn't actually advancing to a different scheme, under surveillance can stay attached to this even if it does hit 11, which is kind of nice. The other major thing going on is this holding cell deck, and this is where the scenario gets trivialized a little bit, certainly in solo. So, so there's these 4 cards. They've each got an environment on one side that comes in with 2 lock counters. There is a hero action that allows you to spend resources, either a particular type or 3 resources of any type, to remove a lock counter. So then once you've removed 2 lock counters, you flip it and you get an ally. And all of these allies are incredibly strong. So if we just consider like a value perspective from solo, like it's worth paying, 4 resources like just for this ally. Like it's just a very strong card. And right, it's not even coming from hand. It's probably buffed relative to what you'd expect for a 4-cost ally anyways. So we can very well play the game like just removing lock counters from here. Note that when we defeat an Adaptoid, we also remove 1 all-purpose counter from an environment, so that can remove a lock counter from a holding cell. And so it's basically just a race to do that. M.O.D.O.K can't be defeated when he would be defeated. We remove 2 lock counters from a holding cell and reset his hit points. But if there's not a holding cell in play, then he's just defeated. So the goal is to basically clear all these and only defeat M.O.D.O.K once. Now M.O.D.O.K does give extra incentive to defeat him during the game. So he's got a handful of attachments here, most of which, this one is slightly different. But the rest are all going to be discarded after we reset M.O.D.O.K's hit points. So either you've got to live with him being buffed for a while, or you've got to burn through his hit points, allow them to reset in order to discard some of these attachments. I'm thinking the game, or at least my game, will be short enough to not even worry about these, hopefully only defeat M.O.D.O.K once. Of course, you do have the Retaliate 2 there if you're going to be attacking him a lot. You're going to take a lot of Retaliate back without some kind of ranged or anything like that. Some notable cards here: Psionic Blast. Their extra activations, always something to take note of. So in Alter Ego form, he'll scheme. In hero form, we take indirect damage equal to his scheme and confuse each character that takes damage this way. So just another source of damage that we might have to watch out for. Modular set I'm playing is the Scientist Supreme. So this has got a couple of vulnerable minions that we really want to discard from the vulnerable keyword rather than defeat with damage, because then it makes some of these other treacheries worse. So if you saw, I got Mockingbird in here. Even though we've got a steady villain, Mockingbird is really valuable to just being able to stun one of these guys on demand and send it to the discard. We're playing one way or another as well, so always good to take note of the side schemes. We've got 3 all decent options, honestly. This is just 3 threat. It's got an acceleration. Gets worse if there's aim minions in the victory display. This one is another 3 threat. If we've got a rescued ally, it takes it, but when we defeat it, we get it back. So kind of just 3 threat, and then this one's 4 threat. So honestly, a decent. They're weak enough that it could be worth it to defeat them after we one way or another, or if we just leave it in play. Obviously not this one because it steals an ally from us. Honestly, that doesn't even prevent us from losing, I don't think. But so a few options to get there that aren't that bad. So good option to play one way or another here. Possibly should even be playing 3, but I don't know. So there we go. Yeah, overall just not that difficult of a scenario. We'll see if it humbles me here in a second, but just because you can burn through the holding cell deck pretty quickly and kind of ignore some of the stuff going on, that can kind of trivialize it a bit. And then once you burn through them, you've got all these powerful allies that you can just attack and win with. So hopefully that's what happens, and we'll see here in a second. Enjoy the game. Black Panther Shuri versus M.O.D.O.K on heroic difficulty. Okay, to start off, we'll create the holding cell deck. So I'll shuffle these. You have my word that I'm looking away to not bias it too much. Okay, so we have the holding cell that gives Psionic Inhuman. So honestly, kind of the best one to get early. Well, I guess, I mean, they're all good to get early. This one just helps go through the rest faster. Then put one random adaptoid environment into play, 2 environments instead in expert mode, so it will be expert mode. And then each player searches the encounter deck for a copy of Adaptoid and reveals it, so I just grabbed that already. 2 environments. Strong upgrade, so they're +1 attack and gain toughness. And then Sarah Garza upgrade, they're elite. They have +1 attack, attacks gain overkill and ranged. Okay, assuming we kill them on the spot, that one's not that bad. And just for reference, the other ones give insight and +1 scheme. The other one gives villainous and psionic. So the tough definitely makes it harder to get rid of the adaptoid turn 1. It's got 3 attack, which is a decent amount. But we'll see what we draw. Because we got the tough one, the Panther Claws do pierce. When you do the bonus ability, it's 5 damage, that's piercing. So probably won't work out to exhaust to grab that and activate, triggering it. I would have to trigger it from another event. Which could be worth doing, or we just steamroll the holding cell deck. Nope, starts with 1 threat. And as a reminder, when it would be completed, we put an adaptoid environment into play instead. And then if there are no set aside ones, we lose the game. So we've basically got 1 free one to get the 3rd one in play, and then the 4th will lose the game. Okie dokie. So Vibraniums, any double resource that can pay for that is just an auto keep. And see what we got. This is very strange. I drew 3 of the Black Panther upgrades. And this is only from deck. And none of them are really great plays just from hand. So I probably mulligan all of them. That does risk not drawing any. I guess Panther Claws would be the only one left. I've got the Sonic Rifle as well to grab. Sidearm, we've got plenty of sidearms. Heart of the Panther is interesting just because it is a mental resource. I should probably try to find something I can actually play. And then Clawed Strike's interesting. I mean, that would be a way to trigger the Panther Claws to defeat the Adaptoid. But I would take 2 Retaliate from M.O.D.O.K. Unless I just attack this and have it hit this. It kind of wastes damage, but it doesn't retaliate on me. That's kind of intriguing. Because this isn't really a game where I care about setting up at all, so I think just getting the good immediate value is where I want to be. So I'll keep a Clawed Strike. Just try to dig harder into a double resource Vibranium. Okay, did not draw Panther Claws, which is good, so I think I'll just start off by going to get that. Genius is an amazing draw. So this is search your deck, play it, reducing its resource cost by 2. So just straight into play. Do I bother to play Ingenuity here? Or I could just play Mockingbird. No, I can't quite play Mockingbird. So I want this for a lock counter. I mean, 3 for claws. Okay, no, I don't think I can play Mockingbird, but I can get Ingenuity in there pretty easily. So because I'm probably going to pop this on Adaptoid, I could just play on the Prowl, or I could just Cloud Strike M.O.D.O.K and take the Retaliate. Like, I'm not that concerned about M.O.D.O.K's attack. Yeah, I'm kind of thinking that. Okay, so let's pay 2 for Ingenuity while I am a genius. Flip. I guess I'm not going to use the Ingenuity this turn, but it didn't work out for me to play Mockingbird unless I didn't play Cloud Strike. So, okay, 2 mentals to remove 1 lock counter. Cloud Strike on M.O.D.O.K for 4 damage, retaliate 2. Trigger the special. So 2 damage to an enemy, discard this to deal 3 additional damage and gain piercing. So that'll take out the Adaptoid. When defeated, remove 1 all-purpose counter from an environment. So that'll flip into Psionic Inhuman. And then, oh, I forgot. Okay, yeah. So I definitely shouldn't have. He only does this when he thwarts. So good thing I left 1 on the main scheme. Thwart for 1. And after this ally thwarts, remove 1 lock counter from a holding cell. And yeah, even if my life total gets risky, I mean, we can always just block with this ally, delay the win a little bit, but always an option. Okay, could do a full Moon Girl with this hand. 1 on the main scheme, M.O.D.O.K attacks for 1 plus a boost. I'm just going to take it. Boost of 2, I'll take 3. 2 encounter cards. This is going to Surge. Discard 1 card from your hand for each aim minion in the victory display, which is none. M.O.D.O.K gains Stalwart. When he would take any amount of damage, place it here instead. If there's at least 5 damage, discard this card. And another Adaptoid, which comes in Tough. Okay, Psionic Inhuman will thwart for 1. And remove a lock counter from here. That gives Strong Inhuman. Comes in Tough. Now we've got the Sarah Garza one. Which is a wild resource to remove. So I've kind of got to decide if I want to use Power in All of Us as a wild or use it on Moon Girl. So with Moon Girl, Black Panther, and Strong Inhuman, I can kill that Adaptoid. And that removes 1 anyways. I do think I want to draw with Moon Girl. I can only do that in Alter Ego. So I'll just spend Wakanda Forever as a wild to remove 1 counter. Could also just like recover. or get sonic rifle. But I want to kill this Adaptoid, so yeah, I can always recover next turn. Attack off the tough. Strong Inhuman attacks the Adaptoid. Oh, I can wait on that. Okay, flip down. Ingenuity plus power in all of us for Moon Girl. Draw 3. Could just slam Okoye. Or like Eros plus Sidearm. I think Eros plus Sidearm is a little better. Yep. Okay, so Moon Girl and Strong Inhuman will finish off Adaptoid. Okay, yeah. It's just when defeated. I don't need to be a hero or anything to remove this. Getting Sarah Garza. Sarah Garza's already got ranged, so I'm not going to give her the sidearm. These do not count against the ally limit, so I'm at 4 and about to be 5, but that's totally fine. Let's pay 2 for Eros. Pay 1 for a sidearm. Honestly, on Eros, so I'm going to be able to blitz this down. This gives Eros an extra attack on M.O.D.O.K, whereas Strong Inhuman has enough health that it doesn't really matter. So Eros will attack M.O.D.O.K for 2. That goes on Psionic Force Field. Sarah Garza attacks for 2. Also goes on Psionic Force Field. Okay, that might be, I guess that might be wrong, but I guess Strong Inhuman could get more total uses off it, but I'm kind of thinking we can win next turn. I mean, this is 2, 4, 6. Assume we thwart. 9, 10 on board. Ooh, foiled. 2 foils. Okay, definitely have it next turn. Let's make sure we survive here. 1 threat on the main scheme. M.O.D.O.K schemes for 3 plus 0. Lucky there, but honestly I had the foiled anyways, so nothing too bad could have happened. 2 encounter cards. That surges. Gang up surges. Okay, stats are +1/+1, and his attacks gain piercing. So we'll flip to hero form. Psionic Inhuman will thwart for 1, removing a counter from holding cell. We'll spend 2 energy resources to remove the last counter from holding cell. Shuri will attack for 1, take 2 retaliate, puts the last damage on Psionic Force Field. And then we'll attack for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Yeah, it was at 10. I don't know why I spun the ones place, but that's enough for the win. All right, I'll definitely try to maybe get another video with Shuri here. I mean, it's always nice to have a short video once in a while. definitely overkill here. I think Shuri is very strong, but I think a lot of heroes could make an easy time out of this scenario. So this might be, as I ultimately try to beat every scenario with a different hero on heroic difficulty, this might be a scenario where I can steal a win with a weaker hero at some point. But I always like to get games in with the most recent stuff. So, all right, a nice, fun, quick one. Thanks for watching. This deck is very specific to this, so yeah, I wish I could have seen it a little bit more, but that's how it goes. Got the win, and on to the next one. Thanks for watching.